Hi, I'm Amy with Superior Threads, and welcome to our Maker Profile, where once a month we sit down with makers, crafters, and sewists just like you and talk about what inspires them and things they like to do. Hi, I'm Amy with Superior Threads, and welcome back to our Maker Profile series, where we interview makers just like you to see what they're up to. Today, I've invited my friend, Diana Evans, here today to talk about her love of not only Superior Threads, but making bags, which I'm totally envious of because I've only made maybe 2 bags in my life, and I really enjoyed it, but for some reason, never went there again. So welcome, Diana. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you live?
Well, okay. I live in, I'm going to say South Florida. It's Port St. Lucie, which is sort of mid-south on the Atlantic coast. And I've been in Florida for about 17 years now. Nobody kind of is from Florida anymore. Well, I'm sorry, Florida people who are. I didn't mean that as an insult. But in any case, yeah, a lot of migrants, and that's what we call ourselves. And anyway, so I started quilting about 10, 12 years ago, took a class, and it was a lot of fun. And then one thing leads to another, you decide to branch out, and bags was kind of the next choice, because then you have something to carry all of your stuff in, right?
Yep.
I started making a few bags and liked it, and I'm not real good about following a pattern. So sometimes I will get started and say, oh, hey, I think I want a zipper here, or I want a flap there. And you just kind of figure it out.
That's awesome.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. So for those of you watching, Diana and I are actually, gosh, we've been friends for like 6 years. How long has it been?
2017.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and we met because we were doing a project together in the industry, and we just became really good friends, and we stay in touch. I love the quilting community, and I think our friendship really epitomizes quilters because we met over quilting and we became fast friends, and we've actually met later on at a quilt show together. I was working at QuiltCon when it was in Nashville, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my company, someone I was working for, not Superior Threads at the time, I invited Diana. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be at QuiltCon, and I got a big room all to myself. Come up and hang out and go to the show, and you did, and that was so much fun. It was like summer camp, really. Even though I was working the show, it was really fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, I love that about the quilting and sewing community, because we like getting together and we like having fun, and it's nice to meet friends that share your interest and stuff. So
I agree.
Right. So I have one of your bags. I actually have two of your bags. Three. I don't.
3 if you count the project bag.
Yes, I forgot about that one. I should have brought that one. It's got a project in it. I use that one all the time. How could I forget about that one?
Oh, it's okay. I've got a few here.
I asked her, this is the bag, the most recent one that you've sent me. Oh, is it not going to show because of my background? I'll go slow.
And you've disappeared.
That is so funny that the background. Okay, I will take a picture of this and post it. But I love it. It's huge. It's got pockets in it, and I carry it all the time. I use them when I travel, and they're great. So I asked Diana to come on here and talk about making bags, because that's a great thing to make. I don't think you have to be necessarily advanced to start a first simple bag, right?
That's absolutely true. And the first bag that I ever made, I did everything wrong and it still worked out. I've got it back here. I just fixed it the other day because the handle's kind of.
Yeah. Let's see it.
I carried something a little too heavy, let's say.
Okay.
The handle's ripped, so I had to repair.
Gotcha.
It. Yeah, it's great. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a big one, like yours.
Oh, Wow, you started your first project out big.
Yeah, I'm kind of silly that way. I don't
That's
know how much
beautiful.
you can see.
Yeah.
It's got pockets everywhere, like you were saying. It does not, however, close at the top.
Hmm.
Big and open.
Yeah.
I believe the pattern is an Auntie's 2, if you've ever heard of that. And it's called the Weekender bag. And I believe you could get more than a weekend in here.
Definitely. I love the little bows on that.
Yeah, that was actually part of the pattern that worked out. Now, what I did wrong was I used the wrong kind of lining, so it's stiffer than it should have been. So when I tried to sew the bottom on, I'm not even sure an industrial machine would have handled it. So I ended up having to buy a leather punch. And I leather punched all the way around, and then I took a skinny strip of fabric and I sewed it on.
Wow. Well, that's just ingenious.
With lacing,
Yeah.
I laced it on. So yeah, that's this thing. And I took it to work with me yesterday, and my boss, who is a fabulous maker, she could make anything, I'm pretty sure. She just went nuts over it. So I knew I did something good.
That's awesome. That is so ingenious. And that's something that I love about you, because you're somebody that will look at a pattern and change it or make it up or fix a mistake and make it look like it was a purposeful design element. And that's thinking outside the box. And that's great for a creative mind to do that. And it allows those of us that make things, if you make a mistake, don't give up on the project. Just figure out a way to fix it and make it look like you meant to do it.
Yes, absolutely. A friend of mine did the same thing, except she tried to use hot glue.
Hot glue is not going to work.
Hot glue did not work.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
So when you make a bag, do you usually hunt for patterns, or do you alter them, or do you make up patterns on your own?
Well, I am guilty of buying just nonstop. If I see something I like, I think, ooh, I'll make that, and I'll buy the pattern. I've got dozens of different bag patterns, all sizes, all shapes. I haven't made very many yet, but then again, working 2 jobs keeps you a little busy, and I don't have a lot of time for my own stuff unless it's for somebody else. I can get a gift made, but I just can't target something that's not designated for somebody, let's say.
Yep.
But yeah, I've got some really good patterns that I want to try out, and I feel like all of them that I buy are useful. They're not just pretty, they're going to be useful. So that's part of the reason why I pick patterns like I do, is for what it might be able to do for me.
Gotcha.
Get organized.
Do you buy fabric specifically for bags, or do you use leftover fabric?
Oh, I've bought lots of fabric specifically for bags, because a lot of times I'll want something a little different, like a canvas. I've got some upholstery fabric that I've pulled away from a big old box of stuff that we were allowed to go through one time. It was leftovers from an upholstery store. And there's some great fabric in that box that I can't wait to mess with. And they're gonna be some pretty funky bags, really.
That's awesome. I love that idea. I love different fabrics and things like that. And I have started buying old remnants of upholstery fabric and putting them on the back of quilts, because especially like 1980s silk upholstery fabric, you can get that really cheap and it feels so good. And put it on the back. So I love the fact that you do that kind of thing with your bags as well. And that's the whole spirit of having these maker profile interviews, is because we can learn from each other and get great ideas from each other. And that's
you're gonna have to share your source. You're gonna have to share your source for that. So
actually, I've actually found them mostly at garage sales.
Oh,
I think people buy extra fabric, and I found them still on the bolts and stuff. And
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
it's fun. So
Well, and not only that, but you mentioned garage sales. You could go to thrift stores and look for curtains.
yes, good idea. I think we're gonna have to have another next year. We're gonna have to come back and talk again and talk about all the things we've made with found fabric, found the
Oh, that'll
quilting
be
fabric.
great. Yeah, that'll be great.
So do you put zippers in your bags?
Sometimes, yes.
How do you like working with zippers?
The first time I had to do it, I was terrified. And because you were the recipient of one, I sort of took on this project of making project bags, okay, for all of the handy quilter people that I was associated with. Am I allowed to say that?
Sure.
Okay.
We do not discriminate against any type of machine. So I know
Okay.
you have a handy quilter long arm. That's what I have.
I do, yes. And that's how I met so many handy quilter people is because of the machine. But in any case, so I made a whole bunch of project bags and gave them away to just a bunch of folks I met, you guys, you and Adam and Becky, the whole crew of us that were together. And as a result of that, I got pretty darn good with zippers and totally lost my fear of them. All right, so this is the project bag, right? And it's got a project in it. And then, of course, there's the zipper that runs across the top. There's several of the patterns floating around, so they're a variation of a theme when you find them. But the clear part is great because you can see what project you've got stored in it. And I've scads of them hanging around with projects in them that I will do someday.
I love the project bag you made for me. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I've been looking at it and I'm trying to organize my projects and I keep looking at the bag thinking I think I can make it and use it. And think I can make maybe like 20 of them and put all my projects in there and then like hang them in my thing.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you made it clear because I can see the project that's in it.
Mhm.
And
yeah, you can put
talk
the
about
pattern in and the fabric and any of the notions that you might need, right?
And other than having to buy the clear part, it's probably be a pretty good stash buster.
Yes, absolutely. You'll have to have a stabilizer, a stiff enough stabilizer, and then the vinyl. And other than that, you're going to have the rest of it laying around. You could make it out of scraps. You could sew it together to make it fit and make it like a crazy quilt kind of thing.
Yeah.
And again, I've used upholstery fabric. I've used canvas. I've used, well, of course, quilt cotton. Everything works. Everything.
That's awesome. So
I'm not going to use silk though.
It's not going to use silk. That might get dirty.
Yeah.
So can you show us some of your bags?
Sure. Well, I showed you the weekender and then the project bag. And then the next one is what we call a suite of bags. It's something that me and my local group that I sew with, we call ourselves the Sew Sisters. And we all picked out a fabric, a single fabric, and then, like a complementary fabric, and just went to town making different bags because we would go to quilt retreats. And it was a lot of fun having like everything in matching bags. So I will show you what I've done so far and what I still need to do.
Is that while you're getting your bag, I have to ask, is that beautiful throne that you're sitting in have wheels on it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want that chair.
It didn't come with wheels. I just
added
them. Yeah. My power tool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with the biggest one. I think this one is from the pattern called Everything But the Kitchen Sink. It could be a little stiffer. I probably should have used like Soft and Stable or something in it, but it has elasticized pockets on the side. And then there's plenty of pockets on the inside in case you wanted to slide things in like rulers. And I have done that. It's pretty darn strong. It's lined. So my 3 fabrics to use was, I think that was called confetti or something.
Mhm.
I forgot. And then this is a Kaffe fabric. And then this, I believe, is Marcia Durst. Look at me knowing my
I-
designers. Ah!
I'm impressed.
Well, working at a quilt shop part-time for the last year and a half has kind of gotten me up to speed on designers. So anyway, this was the first one that we made. And then we decided, well, we need something to keep all the little notions in. So this is called the Beetle Bag. And
Oh, I love that. That's so cute.
well, wait till you see this. So you open it up and it's got these clear pockets.
Wow.
And you can put all your stuff in there. I have it upside down actually. And then there's 2 pockets on the side for your rotary cutters.
Wow.
And just, you can shove everything in there. And just for fun, I took a wooden ring and painted it to match the color of the fabric.
Uh-huh.
And that's how you close it up. Little piece of Velcro, and it's got a handle. So pretty cool.
Yep.
And I took a class for this one. This was a whole book of duffel bags, right?
Uh-huh.
The smallest size. I wanted to make the medium, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And again, it has side pockets for stuff. Oops, I got bungee cords in there. Usually what I'll carry in this is threads that I'm gonna need and feet. Oh, and crayons, because everybody needs crayon. And with the leftover fabric from this class, there was a little freebie add-on kind of thing. So we took
cute.
yours and she showed us how to make these little zipper bags. And that's what I keep my feet in. So it goes in here. And then this one was another one, just a size, the leftovers. And it can go in here. So it's all nice and tidy. And then I decided I needed a trash can. So
Oh, I love it.
the collapsible thing,
Uh-huh.
got that wire spring in it. There's a pattern for that. Whoops, just threw that one on the ground. So this one is for fabric scraps and this is for trash. So I don't get them confused because I save my fabric scraps and then I make dog beds and donate them to the local shelters.
Gotcha.
If I don't get them confused, I have a place for both.
That's awesome.
Here's the
I
thing.
love that.
Now, what I haven't made yet is my bag for my cutter, rotary cutter mat.
Mm-hmm.
It will be able to hold some rulers as well, because you know, pretty much take your cutting mat and rulers to retreats, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I think that would pretty much finish it as
The whole
complement.
collection.
The
Yeah,
whole collection. Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Laurel Birch bag.
Okay. My sister loves Laurel Birch fabrics, the dog collection. And I had found a couple of purses that I bought at a shop, like a discount store, and they were so cool. Well, she wore hers out and she was so distraught over it. I said, look, I'll make you another one. So I dug through my Laurel Birch collection and I found enough dog fabric that I could go ahead and make one. And it was the first time that I'd made something that could really act as a purse as opposed to a bag.
Uh-huh.
And I was so proud of it because I took a pattern and then I added a few features because I do like, you know, more zipper pockets and whatnot. So I made it up and showed it to her and she loved it. And she carried that thing until it was threads. So guess what? I got to make another one.
Yes, you do.
I do.
So right now all your bags are just gifts for people you love.
Pretty much. Right. I have the ones that I've kept for myself or, you know, these ridiculous utility bags like this.
Uh-huh.
Make it out of a jelly roll pack.
Yeah.
one full jelly roll, which is like 40 to 42 strips, will make 3 bags, and you line them. And I'm pretty sure I just got that pattern off of YouTube, which is, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but it's a wealth of information. Yes. And yeah, I do make them for friends, and I hope that they always appreciate them. And do you recognize that
I
one?
do. That one is mine, and I have worn it out. The bottom is disintegrating, and the straps have not ripped though. So that you did a good job on that. And because I take it everywhere, it's actually now servicing me as my gym bag because
No
the bottom,
way.
yeah, so the bottom's worn out, so I take it with me to the gym and with my
Listen,
change of clothes.
I learned a lot from that bag. That bottom part was that what do you call the craft?
It was like paper.
It was like paper. It's supposed to be faux leather, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a paper product. Well, I forgot to make my stitch length longer when I started sewing with it. So when you have your stitch length short for sewing on something like that, you're essentially perforating it so it will rip later.
Yes.
So definitely a lesson learned there. And fortunately, you were the recipient of that lesson.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I loved it, and I used it all the time traveling when I was flying places. I was flying to shows all the time, and I used it. And then it got a little too worn on the bottom from me, like carrying it on an airplane, setting it at my feet, or putting it above my head. And so it's now been downgraded to my gym bag because I'm just worried the bottom's going to fall out on an airplane, and that wouldn't do good. But
No,
so now this other one that I have is now taking its place to for all my stuff. But I love it. But that's just so fun that you can, that you just make whatever you want. You just see it and you're like, I can make that, and let's do it. So
yeah, for the basic tote bags, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And I will have to credit some of the folks on YouTube. They're more than generous.
Yep.
Sharing how to make some of these more basic things.
Yeah. So I know you are a Superior Threads true loyal consumer of Superior Threads.
All the way back to highlights and lava.
So when you make these threads, make these bags, what Superior Threads are you using?
I pretty much use, when I'm sewing anything on my domestic machine, I use Sew Fine. Mm-hmm. I like it a lot. It's thin enough that it doesn't cause any kind of bulk, but yet it's sturdy enough that I don't have to worry about the threads separating, or the fabric not being held by the thread. So I do love it. It's good solid thread.
That's awesome. I love Sew Fine. It's a very popular thread for us. Now a lot of people, I get questions when I work shows and stuff like, doesn't polyester thread melt when you iron it? And it actually doesn't. I mean, if you have like a 75-year-old iron, those that used to get like so hot you could melt asphalt.
Yes.
Those that might melt, but any relatively new iron, I don't have a problem with it. You don't find that?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not ever.
Yeah.
And I've used it for, quilts and bags and what few garments I've managed to cobble together. And it works really well. And even the clear thread, which a lot of people think is nylon, it's not. So
the monopoly.
Yes, yeah. You don't have to worry about that melting on you either. So
yeah,
it's a very good suite of products.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we love it talking to people like you that use our thread to make projects and things like that. I like to think of thread as like the foundation of all sewing products. And it can be decorative, but you also got to have your bags hold together. And it's great when your thread really performs with what you want it to do.
Agreed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I can't think of anywhere I can go to get the selection and the variety that I can when I go on the Superior website. And I've been using it since I started quilting. So have I used other stuff once or twice, but mostly because somebody gave it to me and not because I sought it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I've got highlights still. I've got lava. I've got rainbow. Those have been discontinued for a long time. So now I'm into Fantastico and Magnifico. I've got a lot of Masterpiece. Omni is my go-to thread. I love it. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, we love talking to people like you. So I just want to say thank you for sitting down and talking with me.
Sure.
And can't wait to see what the next project you do. I have a feeling that we're probably gonna have to talk to you again in about a year because you'll be making so much more.
I certainly hope so. I hope I've got a whole lot more to share by then.
I'm sure you will, because you're my go-to person when I have a question. So I'm like, yay.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
And if
I'm
you're
like,
ever over here, you certainly will get a lesson in making.
yeah, we're trying. I've been telling Diana, I'm like, I gotta come visit when I need to get out of the rainy Pacific Northwest, come to Florida and have a bag lesson with you. So maybe we'll just have to schedule that. So, well, thank you for joining us. And I want to tell everybody out there, thanks for watching us, and let us know what kind of bags you make, and send us some pictures of all your favorite bags and things you make with it. So thank you.
All right.
Bye.